Hi, Calaveras County. This is Morgan Gache, CEO with the Calaveras County Chamber of Commerce. And I have Nate McBride here from the SBDC. Good morning, Nate.
Good morning.
Thanks so much for joining us. Obviously, today is an interesting day because news headlines on Friday said that legislation passed, $320 billion more dollars to come out to businesses through the CARES Act. And so I wanted to do just a check-in with you today as our SBDC representative and just kind of get a heads up for what's going on and ask you some questions that some businesses here in Calaveras are currently asking us. So what updates can you give us right now?
Yeah, with the law passed on Friday, the Small Business Administration is now authorized to accept new applications to both the Paycheck Protection Loan Program and the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program. We've been talking about these for a long time, at least those that are wrestling with us, but people may or may not know all the details of those. So just as a reminder, the Paycheck Protection Program is obviously to help provide funding primarily for payroll, and businesses apply to those through participating SBA lenders. And then the Economic Injury Disaster Loan is a little broader in terms of what the money can be used for, any kind of working capital needs a business might have. And that one is, the application is directly to the Small Business Administration through their disaster arm. And so the allocations have been made for additional funding for both for the new applications. And so the SBA has already started accepting PPP loans or Paycheck Protection Program loans from participating lenders. So that application process for new applications is going today. The Economic Injury Disaster Loan applications, we're waiting still for that application portal to be opened up online. We were told late on the day Friday that could be coming today, but we just don't have any confirmation or guarantees that it'll be up today. But I would guess at least by the end of the day today or maybe tomorrow, I'm hoping that that's going to be open again so people can apply.
Yeah.
The other thing we're getting lots of questions about still is applications that were already in process. Mm-hmm. And so for us anyway, the good news last week is we finally started to hear from people that had applied to the Economic Injury Disaster. Sometimes they were deposited in their bank account without any notification. So they checked their bank account and the money was there. They didn't even know it was coming. But and we also heard of people receiving notices of amounts for award and loan closing docs to get the full loan amounts. And so if you're still in the queue, you're not alone from that original allocation. So hopefully those are coming through very soon and continuing to be processed. But those are still coming.
Is the latest, because I know they were talking for a while about if you had applied for an EIDL loan prior to March 29, was it? Then, and you have not heard anything, then you should reapply. Is that still what's being expressed there?
Yes, and the most recent way we've heard of how you tell, because sometimes people aren't sure when they applied. So if you got a loan application number from the SBA and it started with the number 3, then you should still be in the queue and your application should still be being processed. If your application number started with a 2, which was a little earlier, then those are the ones that we're hearing are being encouraged to reapply, even if they had an application number.
Yeah. Okay. Now, with the Paycheck Protection Program, I know people are still concerned about no clear directives being given on behalf of the lenders because they also don't have clarity on what's going to be forgiven. And so the forgivable portion is obviously a hot topic right now. So what guidance can you give for people who have received, because there are people here in the county that have received funding, fortunately, through the Paycheck Protection Program? What should they be doing to keep track of everything and to know how to spend it?
Right. The best I understand those parameters are, one, a PPP borrower needs to spend at least 75% of the loan amount in direct payroll costs.
Okay.
And so that's one thing to kind of keep track of. The other 25% potentially could be used for, I believe it's like rent or mortgage payments or utility payments primarily, or the other two things that the money could be used for and still fall into the forgiveness category, as long as the business spent 75% or more of the total loan amount for payroll related costs.
Yeah.
And so borrowers are obviously going to have to provide payroll records or, payroll expense cost records of some kind of what they spent that on. So hopefully in their payroll systems, that shouldn't be too hard to gather, we hope. But that would be one directive I would give it. The other one that I'm not sure if everybody is really following is there's also a requirement, as I understand it, to bring your employee levels back to the same level they were before. So if you had 3 full-time employees and 1 part-time employees, then you should be bringing back all 3 full-time and 1 part-time. So the employment level would be similar. Some people are running into employees that don't want to come back because they're getting the extra $600 and they're getting more in unemployment than they are for that. And so I believe employers could take on a new employee or something, but you still have to match that employment level.
Okay.
The other thing that I've been reading is that if you can't quite pay the 75% of the total loan amount, or if you can't bring full employment back, you still maybe be able to have a proportion of that loan amount still forgiven. So it's not an all or nothing proposition, as I understand it, on that forgiveness.
So that brings up another question that I had, because, and maybe you can clarify this for me. I understand that the EIDL advance versus just the regular EIDL in the beginning was really confusing to me, because I thought I heard that it was 2 separate applications, and then no, it's one, and the EIDL advance is the initial amount given to you in the beginning that's forgivable, and then they're going to possibly give you more funds that's not forgivable at a later point. Is that correct still?
Yes, that's still my understanding. And there was a lot of confusion originally about it.
Right.
At first it was, $10,000 and that's forgivable. And then it was, or maybe it was either revised or we got more accurate information to say it's $1,000 per person in the business. And so that was coming through. But yeah, my understanding is that's still forgivable, and that is being dispersed before the full loan amount potentially is being offered.
Got it. Now, that being said, EIDL versus Paycheck Protection Program, is there a difference as far as tracking? Because I imagine with the Paycheck Protection Program, we're going to have a super clear paper trail of where the funding went in order to be forgiven. Is it the same way with the EIDL, that's that initial allotment given in advance, or is it a little more slack with that?
I haven't read or heard of anything that says that an economic injury disaster loan borrower needs to provide proof back to the SBA of how they've used the money. But certainly the loan terms that the SBA would send out would have some specifications as to how the money is to be used. I mean, it's similar to any other business loan. If you say you're borrowing money to pay business expenses, then that's what you should use the money for.
Sure.
And so the SBA has said, it's not designed to help you buy new equipment or do things like that. It's designed to give you working capital to get your business down the road.
Yeah. Okay. Now, I had a conversation with a business owner this morning here in Calaveras, and they said they were still having troubles logging on and getting on the last 3 weeks. And they are a pre-existing 7A borrower. And so if they have questions like that, if they're not able to get through, which, to my novice perspective, it's, doesn't really make sense if they have a pre-existing account with SBA, who should they contact if they're having issues like that? Just even, error messages and kind of nonsense when they're trying to apply.
Mm-hmm. An existing SBA borrower would have gone through some participating SBA lender. And so if they're trying to address issues with their existing loan, then I would say the person to talk to is your bank, your lender. not necessarily the SBA, because they're the one that potentially could give you the deferred interest or some of those type of things that the SBA is offering to existing borrowers as part of this relief program as well. But if they're trying to submit a new application, if it's the economic injury disaster loan, then it needs to go through that online portal, and that's not up right now, so that's going to come open again. But if it's for the PPP loan, then maybe the same thing, maybe through whatever lender they're trying to go through. If they're not getting on. I'm not sure if that's exactly what that client might be dealing with, but maybe the lenders themselves and not the SBA.
Yeah, and it could be just the timing that they happen to, apply when the program had closed out temporarily. So we'll encourage them to do that. I'd also think it's probably a good time to do a nice plug for Trudy. If you guys have any questions for in regards to your lending with the EIDL loan, Trudy Lackey is our local SBDC representative, our consultant, I should say. And her number, and hopefully someone here can throw this in the comments, but her number is 209-770-6062. And she is ready and willing to help you, or at least point you in the right direction there. So is there anything that you can tell us about this new release? Because I know they keep kind of amending some of the qualifications for who is allowed to participate in the funding sources. Is there anything new or different this time from starting today?
Yeah, one of the things that came out with the second round of allocation for both the PPP and the EIDL loans is agricultural producers are now on the approved or accepted applicant list.
Great.
In the past, SBA and ag-related lending were usually separate, but with this latest allocations, we understood that ag producers can apply to both of these. So.
Well, that's obviously huge for our county. So that's good to know. That's good to know. So we sent out an updated list to our email subscribers for the chamber today with participating lenders with the Paycheck Protection Program. There are still some banks that are not participating. So if you're watching and your business account is with a bank that is not participating in the Paycheck Protection Program, we will post a list here in the comments of participating lenders that are outside of that. Obviously, I think, Nate, you would probably prefer people to go with their business account lender if they can, if they have that potential. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
But again, we've heard some of the same challenges of people not being able to get, through their own lender, either because they're not offering it or they already maxed out or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So I'm just so you know, I'm trying to work on the comment box here, and I was pasting in there a list of some lenders that we had found that we knew were potentially accepting applications from non-existing customers. So if I can figure out how to cut and paste that in, I'll do that here.
You know what? Heidi is on, and she probably is super awesome and is going to put that up shortly. So
she already has it then. Fine.
Yeah, she's got it. So we'll have her add that into the comments here.
Great.
Thanks, Heidi. So my other question to you, I'm not sure if you have much information on this, but one of the pieces of info that the SBDC released was that for people who were not qualified to participate in either the Paycheck Protection Program or the EIDL loans, there is iBank that is available. And do you have the ability to kind of just dialogue a little bit about what that is and what it looks like?
Mm-hmm. The iBank in the state of California have a loan guarantee program that's in many respects very similar to the regular Small Business Administration loan guarantee program. And even the Paycheck Protection Program is being funneled through that SBA lending process. But the state also has this loan guarantee program that has been in existence and available to small businesses throughout California. But they have made some revisions to that to try to target specifically businesses who need some money because of the pandemic. And so they've have set up or are in the process of setting up an application specific for that purpose for businesses to be able to apply, similar to the federal ones that are out there, but through the state loan guarantee programs. And so a couple of the state loan guarantee organizations that normally process those loan guarantee applications are gearing up to get that going. We heard that was likely launching last week. I'm not sure if it really got out last week, but we're anticipating that this week, if it didn't already get out, it's going to be available this week. I've actually got a conference call later today where we're supposed to get some more definitive information about that, so we'll try to get that out. But I know in Northern California, an outfit called California Capital out of Sacramento is likely going to be the Northern California organization that's processing that. There may be some other lenders, like there are SBA lenders that might also be offering those. But I'm pretty sure that California Capital out of Sacramento is going to be the application point for a lot of that.
Okay. So we should stay tuned.
Yeah.
But just to clarify, this is for businesses that did not qualify, not that were denied, but were not qualifiers for the other two programs. Is that correct?
Yeah, I don't think they're necessarily going to be restricting businesses to apply to that loan program.
Okay.
Or to prove they were turned down or not eligible or something for the other loans. I think the state has just set it up so that it's an additional resource that businesses can turn to. I mean, certainly a number of businesses may have wanted to go after the PPP loan, but they couldn't find a lender to do it to. I've got to believe that those folks would potentially be able to apply to this one.
And this also, just to make sure we understand, is not a forgivable loan. This is actually a loan that we would need to pay back. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know what the terms are, if they're, fairly equivalent to what the SBA provides, or if we're talking a double percentage interest rate. So,
yep. And everybody wants to know what the interest rate is going to be, but like even with the economic injury disaster and the Paycheck Protection, the EIDL loan is 3.75% for for-profit businesses, but the repayment terms are either 15 or 30 years. So the monthly payments are really, really affordable, not just because of the 3.75%, because it can be paid off for so many more years. Businesses can pay it off faster if they want to also. So that gives them the flexibility to pay it off as fast as they'd like to, but that's pretty affordable. And then the Paycheck Protection one, everybody kind of likes that. If you don't get the forgiveness, it's only 1%, but the term is only 2 years. And so those payments can be a little steep if a business can't meet the forgiveness portion of it. So I can't remember right off the top of my head what the state loan guarantee program, but I believe they're probably pretty close to what SBA guaranteed loan rates were, which right now are probably bank prime plus maybe 3 or 4%. So we're probably talking, 7%, 6-7%, 8% probably at the upper range. So those rates are so low right now, it'd still be pretty reasonable rate. The biggest question is how long do you get to pay it back, and that'll determine the loan amount.
Okay. Great. Well, any other tidbits that you can leave us with today?
The one other thing I know that's coming this week that I can't remember if we've talked about, I think maybe in the last online thing, the lady from EDD or up there talked about this, but the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program applications are going to be open tomorrow. And from my limited understanding, that's available to people who are small business owners, self-employed, independent contractors. They can apply for roughly the same type of unemployment insurance that somebody else would apply for. The benefits of that, to give them some income for lost revenue or lost wages or income.
Yeah.
And includes the extra $600 a week that the people who are getting regular unemployment were going to get. So those applications go live tomorrow. So small business owners may want to look into that too.
And I think, and maybe you can verify this, what's unique about the PUA versus the SBA funding sources is that you can get basically retro pay from the moment that you were unemployed. So they give kind of different tiers for it. So we'll make sure to post that information because that is launching tomorrow. But yeah, that is great. Another assistance there. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, and that's my understanding also, is it could be retro back to the time when you either could not work anymore or had reduced worker income.
Which also probably warrants a disclaimer that that does not mean you're going to be getting it really fast. So
Right.
be aware of that and know that it's probably going to take some time to, especially because it's opening tomorrow and there's going to be a lot of people applying. So be patient and just plan, if you're planning to apply for that tomorrow, that you're dedicating a large portion to your day to either being on hold or trying to wait for the system to let you apply. So hang in there with that. Yeah. Nate, thank you so much. I appreciate the update, and looking forward to hearing maybe some more that you can share with iBank, and hopefully some good news about the idle portal being open. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you stay healthy. Thanks so much for spending some time with us today.
Yeah, thanks for helping get information out. That's the big challenge, is for everybody to kind of have the latest and greatest and updated information. So if our office can help you, certainly give us a holler, but appreciate all the work you're doing, Morgan, at the Chamber, to get information out and help people.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wish everybody the best. Hang in there.
Yeah, for sure. Stay well.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye.